thing on the agenda is gonna be the minutes for the last week. Gentlemen, you had a copy of them ahead of time. Was there any corrections, adjustments to it at all?
I would make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to go ahead and approve the minutes of the last meeting. Motion carries.
If you remember last week, I was very brief. I had one thing only.
Okay, so now
I
you're gonna
cannot say the
surprise
same
us,
this
right?
week.
Okay.
Making
All
up
right.
for lost time.
All right, go ahead.
First thing I have is payroll claims to be paid on 8/6, or were paid on 8/6. Total payroll claims, $319,732.77, $319,732.77. And here those are.
You got it, it's there for us.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve payroll claims of $319,732.77. Motion carries.
Okay. And you should have been emailed these accounts payable claims, but they're also on here.
17th, right?
Correct. The accounts payable claims to be paid 8/18/21. The total is $315,082.12, $315,082.12. And I'm assuming that
Yeah, we all got a copy of them, so is there any questions on
during the summer, a lot of it's
listing that
gonna
we
be,
have, gentlemen?
a lot of it's gonna be highway stuff until probably,
I've looked them over. I don't have any questions.
I looked them over too. I don't have any questions on my own. Steve, you okay with them?
yes.
Make a motion to approve claims.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to approve claims of $315,082.12.
Next I have the monthly utilities claims that were paid in Lao on 8/11. And the total on that is $34,659.28. $34,659.28. Don't really need that signed or anything, but we need a motion on it, and I'll pass it down for you to look
Okay,
at.
utilities, yeah.
Can you tell me again what all that includes?
You got a breakdown here. Everything in every building.
It's like AT&T, Verizon,
Got, okay.
all those.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve.
Okay. Let Steve look at it and he can go ahead and,
Okay.
okay, motion's on those.
Oh, I'm
Steve.
second.
Second, okay, motion's been made, second to approve the utility claims of $34,659.28. Motion carries.
And I next have Eastern Alliance Workers' Comp claims. And the amount on that is $11,354.88. Those all, I'm assuming that's for July. And then it shows you the stuff on the inside as far as some deductible reimbursements and such, and how they ended up at the total. And the total is $11,354.88. And
Okay.
the other pages on there will kind of explain how they arrived at that figure.
Okay, it's got all the invoices attached here. It's good.
All right, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made to second to approve Eastern Alliance Workman's Comp claims, $11,354.88. Motion carries.
I passed out to you before the meeting the clerk's monthly report. And we just need a motion to approve that after you look through it. I'm gonna bring 3 copies over.
Rex, you see anything on there?
No, I didn't see anything on there that would be out of the ordinary. The balance is out, so that's what we're concerned about.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and second to approve the clerk of the circuit court's monthly report. Motion carries. You say you need to have this copy here.
He only ever brings us fine. Okay, next we have the monthly weights and measures report from Dan Hackman. Looks like there were 26 total and 3 rejected out of that amount.
I wonder, does he go back the next month then, or does he just kind of wait until that's corrected and then?
No, there's a plan of correction, so he has to go back and check and make
Gotcha.
sure it's done.
I don't know what the
Does he,
timeline is.
Yeah.
Okay it then? Or how do we know that when it's okay?
And after they fix it, so the next month's report should have those corrections will then be not rejected, they will be approved or whatever the word is. Kind of like when the food inspector goes out, if they find something, the restaurant has to submit that right away, the corrective measures, and then they come back and make sure that you did the appropriate measures.
But on the scales, if it's not working correctly, that would,
Yeah. I don't know what the timeline is, but
that's why.
he goes back and makes sure that it's
Yes.
working properly.
I think he tries to get it within the next 30 days. Find out what the situation is.
Probably depends on how
It depends
bad
how
it's
serious
all,
it is, yeah. Yeah.
Did we need a motion on that?
Yes, we do.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and second to go ahead and approve the monthly report, weights and measures. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to have Dan come in maybe once a quarter or something. Just kind of bring his report. I'll talk to him about that.
Okay, next we have the Allied weekly claims. And the weekly claims are a total of $21,387.03. $21,387.03. That's the one on the second page you'll see.
Okay. We'll talk about that. Talk about that later.
All right. I make a motion on that to approve. I need to have Dan come in and inspect my bathroom scales. It keeps going higher all the time.
Something's probably off then.
Yeah, the scale has to be off naturally.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made, second that we go ahead and approve the Allied net claims at $21,387.03.
Okay, and next we have the Allied monthly claims.
That'd be admin expense.
And the amount, $51,607.73. $51,607.73.
You see that was the admin.
Yeah, this is gonna be our regular monthly
Yeah.
fees for that.
And that's about what we usually run.
That is, yeah.
Do they just adjust that like per enrollees?
Mhm.
Okay. So if that goes up or down, then that administrative cost goes up or down?
And it depends on how many claims you process too.
Okay.
Need a motion? Second, so moved.
Second.
Motion made second to go ahead and approve the allied monthly claims of $51,607.73. Motion carries.
And now I have the monthly claim for Elaine Shapley. Of course, he's a coordinator, consultant, whatever, and that is $2,916.67, $2916.67.
We talked about having her come, Mark, to give us an update, I think. Don't we usually do that in August or September?
Usually a little bit later because we want to get claims data through the end of August.
Okay,
And then we get an actuary report. And so we usually have her come about the time we're thinking about renewal numbers and open enrollment.
okay.
So that'd be in September sometime?
September, October. Usually I think we have open enrollment at the end of October. Is that right, Tony?
I believe so.
I think it
Is that right,
is.
Shannon?
The first of
I
November.
don't know. I think so. I don't know.
I think it's first of November, isn't it?
I think that's what it is. Open enrollment is maybe
I think
first
it's
week in
November
November.
because,
Yeah, I think it is.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, any questions on that? I'll need a motion in a second.
Motion to approve.
So moved. Motion's been made and seconded to approve Elaine Shapley's monthly bill of $2,916.67.
And this doesn't need a motion or anything, but I put in front of you, as of 8/12, what the health insurance checking and reserve was. Now, of course, that'll change a little bit with today's approvals and such, but that's what it was as of 8/12. Kathy and Ed's office is fantastic about getting that information over, and I like to give it to you guys when she gives it to me so that you're aware of what we're looking like and what's going on.
It looks like we're staying fairly consistent with that, with those
Yeah.
balances, so that's good.
Yeah, you have in checking currently 285, 272.57, and in reserve, 2,481,329.36. And that was as of August 12th. So
Okay, very good.
it keeps you updated a little bit, and that is all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. And just while I'm thinking about it, so I don't forget it, gentlemen, I showed you that invoice from CBTS. And it has to do, the total is $6,458.85. That's for 6 months of licensing for 28 users. On that, we're gonna get, monthly billing is right around $1,112 a month. That's subject to audit, so that's, if we have more users or less, there's gonna be an adjustment made to our billing. But this is for 6 months, $6,458.85.
Yeah, I've looked at that and I would make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion is made, second to go ahead and approve the invoice to CBTS for $6,458.85. And Tony, that's gonna be paid out of, 1,035,700.000.9600. And we'll look at that. See that, we'll have to get that back to Mike so he can fill a claim in for you on that.
Okay.
Okay, Brad.
Stall for a second, Brad.
Okay, can do.
I gotta write down this fund number real quick so I can type it in later.
The fund number?
The fund number.
I find it's better to call it fun than fund. It just,
You didn't know we had fun, did you?
that way I have fun every day.
Okay, I gotta give that back to Mike. Don't want to forget that. Excuse me.
Ready, Tony?
Yes. Thank you.
Good morning again, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
The first thing that I have today is the contract with Primco for 1200 South that needs signed just by Rex and then attested by Tony.
Okay, so you need a motion for me to your approval for me to sign it for us, for the commissioners.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second. Motion's made and seconded. We'll go ahead and allow me to sign for that.
I'll probably have a copy
I'll
of
get
this.
you this. Well, no, I got a copy for you.
That way I can just,
You just keep one.
yeah.
So the next thing, we have 2 permits for install utility facilities in the right of ways. The first one is on County Road 400 West between US 224 and 750 North. NIPSCO is going to would like to install a new 4-inch plastic gas main. That was kind of an interesting situation that I did not know before. They have an existing 2-inch, and back when that was put in, they actually ran the 2-inch, and there's a small bridge there. They ran a 2-inch up, went across on the bridge, on the railing, and back down. Well, that's a big no-no. So now, they can't do that anymore nowadays. So that's why they're installing this new main. One, they're gonna take care of that problem, and then there's also a drain lake set up going on down the road that they need more supply for. So that's what this permit is for NIPSCO.
Okay, so we're
And I
gonna
met with them out there. I mean, didn't see any issues. There's already a gas line there, so they're just gonna replace it. Run a 4-inch.
okay, so we'll address that one separately then.
Yes, because
Okay.
the other one's for I&M.
Okay, yeah, we need a motion on that, gentlemen.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion's made, seconded. Go ahead and approve the NIPSCO permit.
The second one is from Indiana and Michigan Power and is actually at the address of 5250 East, 100 South. And that one there is just, they're gonna replace an existing pole and bore under the road for a new service for an existing house. So
Okay,
it's one pole, bore across the road to the house. Pretty simple. There again, they're just replacing an existing pole, so that's not gonna really change the placement of it, and they're gonna bore it under the road, so.
You said I&M?
yeah. Okay, no problem, no problem.
No
Mr.
problem.
Gentlemen, need a motion on that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and approved the I&M permit.
And just as kind of an update, the one we talked about last week, the one pole that we didn't like the placement of, I've been in contact with 2 of the guys from I&M, and they are looking into it, to what they can do to help alleviate a potential problem.
Okay,
So the next thing we come around to is we opened bids for the truck chassis last week. And in going through them,
thank you.
not all the specs were met. So I guess we'd like to just approach you gentlemen as how to handle this, what your recommendation is.
Later, but
Okay, we kind of discussed that a little bit amongst ourselves, so as far as I'm concerned, they just need to be rebid.
I'd make a motion to send it all back and have them rebid
All right?
to your specs.
Yeah. And
So,
I'm sorry.
got a motion on the floor.
Yeah,
Any
I
questions?
second that.
Second, okay, motion made and second to go ahead and send it back.
So one of our seasonal help, you know, we hire two every year. One is went back to college. The other one is not going back to college right away. So we need, they go off of seasonal help and become part-time help, you know, until they would go back to college or whatever they decide to do. So I guess at this time, I would just like, you know, your guys' permission to keep the one person on as part-time help, you know, as long as we have work for them to do.
I mean, that's pretty typical, right? I mean, do you usually keep somebody part-time on into the,
Since I've been there, this is the first that they're actually gonna stay over longer than what they normally would.
Okay.
And there's a kind of a time limit on that seasonal work.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why we're gonna need to.
how does that work, Mark? Do we have to give them permission for a part-time to keep them on? Or is that just his decision? I mean,
Does he have part-time money in his budget?
Yes.
As long as they got a budget.
Yeah, as long as we got part-time money in the budget, then I
Yeah.
think you can hire part-time.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, other than that, been out grading stone roads. You know, we had some moisture finally, some rain all over the county. So the guys have been able to be out getting the roads graded. We actually had one go out again today. And of course, we're out mowing. So that would be it.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir.
Somebody asked
Paul?
me the other day, how many miles of roads do we have in the county and how many?
700.
It's close to 700. I
700?
think it's like 554 paved or chip and sealed, and was it 106 of stone? Yeah, somewhere around there.
We know we got one mud road.
Oh, yes, that's absolutely, that is correct. Actually, two mud roads.
Two mud roads?
On that, when we looked at that road, what do we need to do to make a decision on 800 North? Because we had looked at options on, we drove the mud road, we looked at options on that road. I know you talked about getting easements around. I guess what do we need to do? Because I've been in contact with one of the property owners and they're kind of encouraging us to make a decision that way. And so,
I mean, I believe that's the step we're at, is,
We gotta have some appraisals.
yeah.
okay, so, because they were under the impression that the improvements had been approved by previous commissioners, but that's not the case. But the study had been approved by previous commissioners, is that right?
Well, but yeah, you still have to make a decision to go ahead with the project, and I think the commissioners had approved the survey work,
Okay,
the engineering, the drawings, all that's been done.
okay,
So that's ready to go. I mean, it's literally ready to go, but, and we're at easement acquisition, that's where we're at,
okay.
a right-of-way acquisition.
Do we have to decide to what extent that road gets improved, whether it's to stone road, to paved road? Do we have to make that decision or how?
It was engineered to be, I think, a chip and seal.
Seal, what they do, yeah,
So-
That's how it was engineered.
yeah.
And that's what I'm wondering, if we could do a lesser improvement for a lesser cost, or are we pretty much committed to a chip and seal finish on that?
Well, I suppose you can,
We can change the
you
plan.
can do whatever you want, but it's been engineered for the slope on the
Would there be
banks and
another
the
engineering
right of
fee if
way.
you changed it?
You'd have to you'd probably have to change the plans, and you'd have to take it in.
Brad, we got the money set aside for that project for chip and seal, right?
My understanding is, it was yes, because however it was engineered and the money was set aside. Now, how long ago has that been? Remember, was that,
Well, it's been over.
It's been a couple of years.
yeah, so, you know, what we have set aside may not be enough now on the pricing.
Right, right.
But I mean, it would surely be close, it hasn't gone up that much.
I guess part of my thought was, if it could be improved to a lesser extent to a stone road, you know, since it's, the traffic on that road is not anticipated to be real heavy, and the properties on that road. So if we could improve it to a lesser extent and move forward with the project somehow.
I think it's gonna be used
So-
quite a bit,
There's
really.
a lot of traffic out there,
Yeah.
and that's gonna connect to the next mile.
Right.
And you've got the right of way for the chip and seal and for those improvements and for
Yeah.
possible sewer to go down that road, so,
So we need to keep it.
I think you stay with the plans to improve it like you improve all the roads. You don't generally improve dirt roads to stone. You generally go to chip and seal.
Yeah,
And so we're converting stone roads to chip and seal. That's what, for the most part, what you do. And in order for it to be a viable, through road for through traffic to other areas, which encourages development, I think you've got the right of way, and you're gonna spend the money on right of way acquisition just as if it was chip and seal. You might as well,
because we went out and
improve it.
looked at that other mud road on 600 West and it was partially improved. So I didn't know how that was brought about, so. That's what made me think about 800 North doing a lesser improvement there.
I think
So-
the traffic's gonna be there, Stan, I really do.
Well, it's right there on the edge of town, and it's right on the edge of a lot of other development.
Yeah,
And there's gonna be sewer out there.
Sure, there will be. Yeah, well, yes, there is gonna be close, so if
Yeah.
there would be a development there, they'll probably run the sewer back there.
so our next step is,
So go ahead and
Is get the
do that.
appraisals.
okay, so how do we
You
do
can order
that?
those, don't you,
I can
Mark?
order the appraisals. I've got the name. We use a firm that we use down on 700 South, and we've got to have right-of-way appraisals, and we've got to get that.
And then I assume there's a cost associated
Mhm.
with the appraisals.
Yep. And I think at the last meeting or two ago, I think you guys already approved getting the appraisal process started, so that's
Yeah.
something that we're
So once we
preparing.
get those, then that's our final step to.
Then we make offers to acquire the ground, and then we, pursue that.
Yeah.
And if we can negotiate it and get it acquired that way, then that's what we do. If not, then we can make the offer and pay it into court and go condemnation and get the right of way. So that's what we do.
Okay,
Okay, you've already got the motion, it's already been made in earlier, Mark, then, right? For you to
Yeah,
go
I
ahead and
think so.
start, so you're gonna go ahead and start with the appraisals, okay.
Yep, I met with, I called Tim, and then I met Tim out here last week when he was here, so I've talked to him about that.
Okay,
okay. All right, thanks for working on
If you can
that.
make copies of those, at least, parts of it.
Thank you.
okay, very good.
Thank
Thank you, thank you. You guys have a great day. Rick?
I guess I'll start out with the shredding of documents Friday. County. Put that out maybe. And it should be, I think they're gonna shred between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. They'll be here to do that.
Okay,
This morning around 2:30, I got a call that our alarm system was going off at the courthouse. It turned out to be a bad fire alarm in the prosecuting attorney's office. It's fixed.
okay.
Let's talk about the chillers. I met with the firm, SCO engineering firm. They were out of Fort Wayne. The gentleman I talked to was Paul Wiseman. I met with him last Tuesday, and that's why I wasn't here last Tuesday at the commissioners meeting. And I've talked to him through the week, probably 2 times between Tuesday and Friday. Then I received a call from him Friday saying that he was prepared to present what he had written up and suggested. But he wanted Mark's email. I gave him Mark's email and asked him if he would CC me on it. And then he called me back about 15, 20 minutes later and he said, I can't CC you on it, we'll only send it to Mark. So I said, okay. So I don't know, and I haven't got to talk to Mark.
Well, I sent it to the commissioners.
Yeah, we
So,
got it.
I would have sent it to you, Rick, if I didn't know you didn't have it.
So, I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
No, I've got the proposal, and so I thought you had it. I didn't look at the email chain.
Whatever that, I mean, spent, I don't know how long with him.
Huh,
That's okay.
I don't understand that. No, I've got the proposal from SCO, and so like we indicated before, due to the cost of the project, this is public construction, we've got to do the project with sealed bids. You got to have open specs so that, firms can bid on this with open specifications. And he's got this. I'll make a copy of it for you, Rick. So I want you definitely to review it. I don't know that you want to make a decision today, but you could. It's to replace two 60-ton air conditioning system, water chillers, provide a new building automation system, graphic user interface to communicate with all HVAC systems in both the service complex and the courthouse. This new system will provide an open protocol software to promote competitive pricing for future control changes over the current proprietary control system at the service complex. So now I don't know, that's probably what you'd expect before anyway, but it's to tie everything together with the software, new efficiency, provide design and bidding documents for the chiller replacement project. That's what we need. Provide performance specifications associated with the new building automation system interface. And so that would go to efficiency, provide bidding services. And so they would, help, get that bid. We would they would probably prepare the preliminary notice to bidders. We would review and revise that and get that published. Provide construction administration services, including shop drawing, review and 2 site visits and 1 final punch of the new system. So they would provide the drawings and then they would be on site to review construction. Total fee for the services, $25,000, and any additional services, if there's something that comes up, then we'd have to negotiate that. That's what they've got. So it's not totally surprising. That's probably about what I expected for a project this size. It's work on a public building, and so anytime you do that, you're supposed to have architectural review and drawings. This is different than public purchasing. This is public construction, and so there are some pretty strict requirements on competitive bidding. You anticipate it's probably going to be $200,000 plus. So
there's no other way we can do this as far as declaring it as an emergency?
I've read the emergency provisions, and we don't have a situation at the present time. It's still functioning. Obviously, it's not functioning well, but I don't think you can declare an emergency and circumvent the bidding statute.
So,
I guess the question is, how quick can they get it together and we can get the thing out to bid? We've prepared a ARP spending resolution to include this HVAC project so that those funds can be used for this project, which would include the fees for engineering.
Well, if we're gonna spend the money for this engineering study, and I would certainly hope that they would be timely in getting this done, considering, how long it's gone on and how urgent it is. So, because this is a pretty vital building for county offices. It's a vital building. As an emergency shelter, it's a vital building for our technology. It's vital using for statutory records that we have to maintain. There's a lot of reasons why this building is vital, and so,
Is he going to look at the filtration system? Because that's a point of interest for many employees. That's a big thing that, because basically replacing anything and everything that we already have in place is there. So the big addition to me would be the filtration system. And
Yeah, I
that's
don't
what-
understand why he's charging 25,000 when we're just replacing what we have.
It's to prepare the specifications to allow any bidder. There's thresholds on public construction. And if it's over 150,000, you have to develop open specifications, put it out to competitive bid, and so that contractors can bid on those projects, and they bid according to the specifications. And so that is a statutory requirement for public construction, unless there's some exception. And so, you know, the only specifications we have is to send out the specifications we have for the train system that we have in here. And we've got that, but they're hired to help promote competition and bidding and oversee construction and make sure the project's done right and that all those systems integrate. And, you know, it's about like engineering bridges or roads. You gotta have that engineering done.
At that point, discuss, Rick, at all about the filtration?
I had mentioned that to him Friday after we had spoken Thursday. Obviously, he must not have put it in there. I guess,
Well, then that's something that I can call him and I thought that was gonna be included.
yeah,
And so I can call him and that's just a matter of including that in the specifications.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
just tell him we want it added.
We want that, we're not gonna pay any more for it, but we wanna have some filtration, purification and filtration specs added to the project.
And I did mention that to Mr. Wiseman, but I just sent him an email, I guess, and tell him we want that in there.
Okay. Is that something that we get that added to the project? You wanna, and we get a timeline on how quick this can be done? You wanna,
Well, I think
Do it?
since we're doing it, don't you think we should have that examined?
Mhm.
I mean, we're putting a lot of money into this project and we're spending an engineering firm $25,000. I would hope, you know, that they would come up with some suggestions or added benefit to the project.
well, let me talk to Mr. Weissman and tell him that we need to have that within the scope and the specifications that you need, you know, air filtration, you know, because I thought I had heard something about maybe providing some sort of UV light filtration. Or isn't that what we had talked about?
It was Paul, and I think it was Tom too.
Tom Overly?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But no, I just got this, I think Monday, and then I forwarded it to the commissioners yesterday, I think.
Well, if there's no way we can declare this as an emergency and bypass those statutes ourselves, then this is our only next step that we can do to repair the HVAC.
We're inching closer, gentlemen. I hope.
Well, I mean, where are we at right now as far as functionality? We got one functioning?
Yep. I mean, one chiller runs all the time.
Well, it was pretty warm when we got in here this morning.
That's where we're at. One chiller running constant. But, you know, there may be some money spent on the backside of this, and here's why. Your air handlers are running all the time. There's no occupied or unoccupied. So there's probably gonna have to be some belt replacement. We got clunking noise in some of the offices now. And maybe a bearing, I don't know, but it just never shuts off. It's just
Right.
runs all the time. I'm gonna be changing the filters here in the fall. I'm sure not gonna do it now, because I won't maintain if I shut it off, even for a short period of time, is where we're at. Hopefully, we don't have excessive more hot weather, I don't know. But we're fortunate. I'm gonna look at it on the positive side of this. We've been blessed to have it working what we have, as long as we have it.
Okay, gentlemen, we got this proposal in front of us. We got to take action on the thing. Are you ready to do it today or you want to table it?
Well, I don't think we can afford to table it.
Okay, well, that's why I'm
Well, it
throwing it
needs,
out.
we need to have some
We need to figure
wordage
out,
added, you know, on the water and it's not in this proposal,
The what?
on the water filters.
On the air filtration, it's not in the proposal yet.
It's not in the
Is what
proposal.
Steve's saying.
Well, you could approve, you know, the engineering work, subject to their adding specifications to include, air filtration. And if they'll do it for the same amount, then, you know, we could, you know, get it approved and get them going.
is their fee based on a percentage or is that just a straight quote?
When I was.
It's almost 10% of the project.
It's a percentage of what the.
Estimated cost is.
Estimated cost
That's about how they come up with it, yeah. And that's pretty common in the industry,
And right now,
unfortunately.
we have a ballpark, but who knows? We kinda knew, but who knows what that's gonna be.
Because we would have to decide even where to take that 25,000 out of.
Well, it's gonna be built in with the ARP money, right?
It can be reimbursed out of that, I
Yeah.
believe, but you'd have to know that you've got that, money available.
I
We
mean,
got
initially,
$95,000 in a special donation account. That was the money left over, the hospital made a donation, and that was the money left over after we paid for that. At $35,000 a year for 3 years, I forget which, that was a
Okay.
educational expenditure. So we got $95,000 in there that's clear.
You have money appropriated in cum court or cum cap?
We do have, yes.
1138, what I have is 60,751.42. These numbers may not be right because things may.
what do you have in there?
1138 fund, equipment repair is 60,751.42. As of last
Last Thursday,
Thursday,
last Thursday.
last week. Out of 1140, we have $75,631.52.
Well, I don't know if we can use
I
1140.
don't think
Unless you wanna
can.
pay it out of that special donation, you have it in there.
Well, you could transfer money later, but as long as you've got money if you got money in equipment repair, what budget's that in? Is that in your budget?
1138,
Which budget is that?
That's cum cap.
that's Q.
1138 is cum cap.
So this is capital development, so you can pay it out of that, and then later you could transfer money from, one of the other funds if you needed to, but you can pay it out of cum cap.
But when do they need their money?
It's not until their services are complete and 30 days after they bill it, so you've got some
I think
time.
they went half down, didn't they?
No, it says, invoices 30 days upon receipt. No, they don't say. Just says 30 days receipt of invoice.
Yeah, payment within 30 days.
So to me, that is upon, once they complete the services and give us the bidding documents, and then they goes out to bid, and they submit the invoice.
And we got the money then. Can we take and transfer from ARP back to the reimbursable line item that we take it out of?
Well, it may be such a
I'm not sure
thing.
how that's gonna be.
It may be such a thing that you get your ARP resolution passed and you pay it directly out of there. It's just that when
Yeah.
you sign the contract, you need to have a fund that you can pay the money out of, and you do. But when you actually get the invoice, if you've got your ARP resolution adopted and this project is in that resolution, then I think you would pay it directly out of those funds.
Okay. So we're gonna get that resolution in of,
I've already prepared it with HVAC, so we're gonna probably bring that back to you next week.
So we're gonna try to pay it out of ARP as of now.
Well, I think they need to approve it to be paid out of,
We don't have to pay this, we know, for at least 30 days.
right.
And hopefully that'll be approved next meeting.
right. They just need to have a fund that has money appropriated in it that can be used to pay the invoice if that's necessary, and you've got that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve the study with the addition that they would
There.
investigate the filters, yeah.
Did they, provided the specifications include air filtration.
Right, there we go.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Motion's on the table, Steve.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. We go ahead and approve the contract with SCO Engineering LLC with the additional HVAC or the filtration system added to it.
I'll get a hold of
Motion
him
carries.
today and tell him what's going on.
Is there any way to communicate the urgency, or do they know that? I mean,
Yeah, no, we'll tell them we need it immediately.
We'll have it ready for next spring. Tongue in cheek.
That's all I got. I mean, I do have other projects in the works, which Rex, you know what they are.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Mark?
Thanks, Rick.
Ernest-ish subdivision and 2 plats of Monroe Meadows, right?
Okay,
Pretty
this is
straightforward, aren't you?
very straightforward on this one. We had one big piece. They wanted to break out the buildings from the rest of it. So it was an 80-acre piece. They've got, this is part of the lot. It's not just an easement. They've got the lane and that square. 3.06, a little over 3 acres.
Okay,
And what's left is,
76.889.
yep. So that's all it is.
Okay, very good. Any questions, gentlemen?
Pretty simple.
Pretty simple. Yeah. Need a motion?
Someone's good.
Motion's made, seconded, to go ahead and approve the Ernest-ish subdivision, Mark. Sign over here. I don't know what I'm writing on here.
Should have left that laying under there.
It's the same area, but it's two different things.
Here, let's get this thing out of the way.
So, you're probably aware, they're replatting, this area, MLS. Brett Miller's bought actually
Yeah.
all of this
Oh, he did?
from the city,
Yeah.
town. And right now, he's just replatting these 3 lots. He'll do this some other time when he sees what's gonna go more than another, what's gonna keep happening. So this is the replatting of the area where he's gonna put the duplexes. And that comes up to about halfway back past that circle.
Good grief, you got 16 lots in there?
They've already started on, I'm just gonna put this out here, it's 2 different ones, but like I say, it's the same thing. I actually did them in 2 different, so that's, I'm not 100% sure, except that it's different zoning. But this area here, which is all inside that same yellow area.
So he owns this over here too?
Yep. So that's, all of this, including that, is inside this yellow line.
This right here.
This yellow line, which is
Yeah.
big, hard. Now, he has these drawn in there because they exist. That's the 3 lots.
Right.
There's 6 lots total today. This is the final approval for changing that.
Yeah, so the A and the B, there'd be a duplex on here.
Yep.
And there's a common wall. So it'd be
Also
duplex.
just
Yeah,
a duplex,
yeah, it's not duplex, it's
Okay.
just, that's why it's A and B. The duplex straddles the line.
Right, okay. I seen they were doing the dirt work there already.
They've already done the dirt work. This is going to be storage units.
Ah,
Okay.
I should say this area here.
Yeah.
Which I say is right back here. And then this is obviously for the duplexes. They've already got, this guy. So there's already a slab for a duplex. So he's got a duplex started, foundations, and he's gonna start those pretty quick. Okay, and see how these sell. That's why he's not doing this yet. If these go well, he'll keep doing more duplexes. If they need to be single homes, he might change it to single,
That makes sense.
keeping his options open. But
No,
that's,
that's good development for Monroe.
yeah,
Yeah, it is.
they're happy. I mean, they owned it, it wasn't going
Empty
anywhere.
for a long time.
So that was his thinking to do with it, and Monroe was more than happy to sign it over.
Those things sell pretty well.
Ideal's doing it for him, Ideal on it.
Oh, are
So,
they?
yeah, since they're kind of, they got all kinds of
They'll probably,
duplexes they do, so they just,
yeah, they just, you know, manage it for him, I
yes,
suppose.
yep. Well,
Okay.
he's selling them.
Oh, is he gonna sell the
They
duplexes?
are, I
Oh.
believe he's selling them, but there's a, well, they probably still will manage them because they are selling them, but you still pay, I think, a monthly fee and they do the snow removal. And
Yeah, it's just like
mowing
the
and-
villas that I live in, so you own it, I own it.
Yeah, own it, but
Each person owns their half, and then
Okay.
there's association,
So that's what
and then you pay dues, and then they take care of snow removal, yard and all that stuff, so, but you actually own it.
yep. So that's what these two are.
I go back here and looked at it, because they wanted $32,000 for, well, those lots, 3 lots each, right around that. So they wanted, which wasn't a bad price for what you got. Okay, gentlemen, any questions? Nope.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Motion made and seconded, go ahead and approve the, Monroe Meadows.
I'll give you lines.
Is that the one where it's, okay, wow, gosh.
Did you make a motion for both of them or one at a time?
Both of them.
Okay, so it's Monroe Meadows, section 1, and Monroe Meadows, section 2.
Oh, sorry about that, Tony.
He's not even listening.
It's a motion to approve Monroe Meadows Section 1 and Monroe Meadows Section 2.
Okay, so I signed these both, yeah, okay.
Trying to filter out the sound. Stuff going over the microphone there.
Sure, they did it.
Is there another one, Mark, or is that it?
Here, take mine.
What's that?
Is that the last one?
That's all I got.
Okay.
Here's your pen, Stan.
All right.
Rex had it in his hand.
That's sort of what. What was that?
That is
License?
for, it's licensed for WebEx users.
I hope it does for him.
Yeah. Do you want to see this thing, Tony?
The price is right, he's gotta get the price right. But we're looking for housing.
Yeah, everything except that.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thanks, Mark. Thank you. Yep. Shannon?
I don't have anything today.
No updates today, okay? Boy, that was easy.
Yep.
Ed, do you have anything for us?
I do, I just have a couple of updates I want to let you guys be aware of.
Okay,
It's been a busy bit of week here. Kathy and I went to the Treasurers Conference that was last week, Wednesday and Thursday, and that was very good, very informative. We appreciate the opportunity to do that. Yesterday, well, at that conference, we talked with Xsoft, and they will be installing the new tax software sometime yet this month is their planning start date. I don't have an exact date yet, but it's a good time to do it because our office is a little bit quiet at this time. Want to thank Deb Gibson, my second deputy, for taking care of everything while Kathy and I was in Four-Way. Yesterday, we had the SRI, it's our tax sale vendor that we use to do the tax auctions. They were in the office. We started off a couple of months ago, we had 41 different parcels that were eligible for tax sale. That's been whittled down to 37 parcels as of this morning. And we have every intention that that'll go down to a dozen, maybe 15 by the time the actual tax sale comes out. We've sent letters, we've sent courtesy letters, we've sent late notices. We do that
over and above what we're supposed to do, just to give the taxpayers every opportunity to take care of it. This morning, SRI mails their official letters from that this property is going to tax sale, period, unless you pay. And that'll get a lot of them off the fence, and they'll come in and pay. So we're looking good for that. And then the bank RFP for our main operating accounts, the deadline is this Friday at 4:30. We have one in so far. I'm sure we'll get the other 4 here yet this week. We're going to open those next, a week from today I have 11 o'clock down. Get all your other work done for the most part, and then we'll do, don't have to be 11, but that's just what I put down. So we'll open them here, as I understand, take it under advisement, and then we'll actually have a financial planning committee meeting the following week, which would be August 31st, 9 a.m., and where we'll choose one. Okay. They'll take over October 1st.
Okay.
Now,
Any
will
questions on
the
anything?
financial planning committee make a recommendation to commissioners, or how does that?
I will make a recommendation to you guys,
Yeah.
we're all the financial planning
We'll make
committee.
that decision.
You actually vote on it.
Okay.
You actually vote on it. So traditionally, you would take the treasurer's advice in hand, but you can choose any of the 5 that we get.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ed, appreciate it. Back to you, Mark.
Okay, we've got interlocal agreement between Adams County and the Adams County Memorial Hospital to provide emergency medical service. The hospital has been providing emergency medical service under agreement with the county for a number of years. A few years ago, it was renegotiated, the amount, and we just need to reduce this agreement to writing. State Board of Accounts wanted to see a written agreement between the hospital and the county. This has been put in the county's budget every year. The amount that has been paid for a number of years has remained the same, and it is $430,855 annually, and that it translates into $31,321.25 per month, and that's been paid monthly. In addition, you pay a sum of $55,000 on an annual basis for replacement of emergency medical service vehicles, so for ambulances. And so that's been the agreement between the hospital and the county for several years. This just simply reiterates that same agreement going forward. Hospital and the county agree that those were the sums that have been paid, and that for going forward, it says, and so this was for 2019 and 2020. It's just reiterating those were the sums that were paid, and that is what was paid. Those are the years that we've got the audit for the State Board of Accounts, so they wanted to see documentation on that. And it says for the year 2021, county has already paid, again, that same amount, $31,321.25 per month, and has already paid the annual $55,000 towards vehicle replacement. Parties agree that this interlocal agreement conforms the past agreement of the hospital and the county for the operation and maintenance of emergency medical services within Adams County. And further, the terms and provisions of this agreement shall continue from year to year hereafter, provided, however, the county and hospital may from time to time adjust payment amounts from county to hospital in order to properly compensate hospital for the services provided. In other words, this is the remainder this is for 2021. It indicates that this is what we would budget for 2022. Obviously, the hospital could approach the county at some point and say, we're not willing to do it for that sum anymore. We need to increase the amount. The county, by statute, is required to provide emergency medical service countywide. Back when we looked at this, I don't know, Rex, if you were here. In fact, I think it was back when Marvin Baird was still hospital administrator.
Before I was, yeah.
They came in and we reviewed emergency medical service and the cost to provide that service. The county looked at the possibility of having any other vendor provide that service, and it would approach the sum of about $1 million a year to provide this service. And it was agreed that working with the hospital was in the interest of the county, it was in the interest of the hospital, and so that's why we continue to work with the hospital to provide EMS service.
I think Andrew Barrett was in on the beginning of that, and then Marvin Baird kind of finished it up, I believe.
Going back, way back initially,
Start of
it predated Marvin Baird. The hospital has provided EMS service for the county going way back. That's been the agreement between the hospital and the county. And so Tony's right, the documentation of it initially goes back that far. And it was just budgeted and it was just done and it was agreed and occasionally, year to year, they adjusted the amounts and the commissioners agreed and the hospital agreed and that's what was paid.
I think
So-
starting in 1976, the county actually managed it for like 1 year or something as a DOT program,
Could've
maybe
been.
2 years, and then commissioned the hospital.
So basically what we need to do is just provide, paper trail for past practice that
Okay,
this is
so
what's
we
been
need to
done.
approve the interlocal agreement.
Need to approve the interlocal.
All three of us
agreement.
have to sign that.
Yep.
Okay, gentlemen, so the contract is for $430,855 plus $55,000.
$55,000 annually
Yeah.
for EMS replacement,
Okay,
which you can't do for $55,000.
Right,
It's just,
right,
it's an
right.
amount that then they, every few years and they'll replace an ambulance.
great, great. Any other questions, gentlemen, on that?
Nope, motion approved.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to go ahead and approve the interlocal agreement with the Adams County Hospital. I guess I should say Adams Memorial Hospital at this point, right?
Yep. I'll send it down. There's one typo on the front that I gotta fix, so I'll send it down for your signature. It still needs to have Dr. Smith's signature. So we'll get that signed and then I'll get it to Tony.
And then I'll get it to SBOA.
Mm-hmm.
It did allow me to look back on some history, back to the 70s,
It's been around a while.
back when Ed and I wore bell bottoms, polyester shirts, and went disco dancing.
That's when you had hair, Tony.
Yeah. That's that long ago.
Now I'm gonna try and get
That's
that
still
picture
out.
out of my head.
We thought we were pretty sharp.
Did you have those big fuzz balls? Did you?
Oh, yeah, afro.
Afro,
yeah.
yeah, I forgot the name of it, afro.
Perm, got a perm.
Perm.
Yeah.
Of course, Steve doesn't remember that. He's always been bald, right?
I was wearing muck boots and milking cows, so.
You got it signed?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. There you go.
There you go.
All
Okay.
right, thank you. We'll get that signed. I'll get that back to you, Tony.
Okay.
We've been talking with Barnes and Thornburg about getting their ARP spending resolution completed. I've got that drafted to include the HVAC project and also to include, I was trying to think, what was the other one we had in there? To also at least preliminarily put in the Sheriff's Department proposal concerning the.
Oh, you got a copy? Did you get a copy of that?
Mhm. So we're gonna put that in. I'll get a draft of it out to you probably this week so you guys can look at
Okay.
that. And I need Barnes to sign off on that and tell us.
Will they help us with a system for proposed applications to approve spending out of that? I mean, like say if somebody is asking for funding through the ARP money, will they come up with a system to Barnes and Thornburg anyway?
I suppose, I'll have to ask him.
I can answer that a little bit. David Barrow, the head of the Association of Indiana Counties, was here. What day was that we did that?
Last Wednesday.
You're on
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
And I believe it was Rex and I that he was speaking to. And he suggested that AIC, to help all of its member counties, may hire their own consulting firm that counties would then be able to work through. Because what he actually said was, they'll be happy to take your money now and tell you, well, we don't know for sure yet. because the interim final rule is not complete, there are still changes going on. As far as aiding in the preliminary stuff, I think that's fine.
He
But as
he
far
said,
as,
don't be hasty
yeah,
in paying out monies to
Yeah.
professional consultants in the very beginning. He said, we're trying to put a whole package together for the whole county, all the counties. So we wouldn't, because I think it was Baker Tilly had a $5,000 charge just for a template on the reduction of income. They had it all figured out, and,
yeah, he said, don't be hasty because AIC is working on providing something to all of the counties. And that was a good suggestion on his part. I don't, because basically right now, all they could tell you is, well, we don't know yet, according to what David was saying. So there's that. I just wanted to throw that out.
but we do need to get the chiller thing taken care of.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
need that.
I don't think there's any
And then,
question that that's
the radio thing
covered.
too, because that price
And that's
is
gonna be
only
done
good,
regardless of where it
through
comes from.
October, I believe.
Mhm.
That's the price deadline on that one, so.
I mean, that has to be done regardless, whether it's approved through that or not, it still has to be done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think some counties have seen success with using that, so,
Well, again, this is a resolution that you pass that is subject to amendment. And so I think you put in the projects now that you know are eligible for payment through those funds. And you get those projects in. The other projects that you're not quite as sure about, you don't put those in yet until you have more guidance and we have some, advice on exactly how those have to be structured, what sort of, language has to be used in the resolution itself and what sort of, audit guidelines and procedures you may be subject to on the back end to make sure that you spend it appropriately. So I think we put in the projects that we know would be covered or fairly certain are going to be covered and eligible. This is the thing where, you literally pass a resolution, authorize the spending of the money, you spend the money, and then you find out later, in an audit, whether or not, that was an appropriate expenditure. And so it is frustrating, that it's taken so long for them to come out with, better guidance and rules on this. I think what you're going to see is they're going to loosen those rules. The longer time goes on, they want that money to be spent. And I did review the information that Dan Mayward provided concerning interpretation of that rule and what some of the things said in there about public safety. It clearly states in a subsection of that rule that public safety expenditures are appropriate. The problem is when you look in the body of the rule itself, it doesn't mention, that. And so that's where I'm unclear.
they'll be loosening it. The longer it goes, the more they will loosen that, like you
And
said. they
David
will.
alluded to that.
Yeah, he
fact.
did.
Yeah, he said probably you get toward the end, they'll probably throw their hands up and say, hey,
Yeah.
spend it, spend it.
Which is what we saw with, the other funds.
Yeah,
Which currently, the CARES grant money that we received and all that went through our office is, as we speak, being audited.
yeah.
So maybe we'll learn something from that as to what to expect with the other.
So I think on the front burner is obviously the HVAC project that we've got here now. We want to get that approved and get
Yeah.
that in a resolution. So I'll get a draft of that and get that out to you first. And so we may just put that single project in there, get the resolution adopted so that we've earmarked money to be used out of ARP for that HVAC project.
Yeah.
So get that to you.
Yeah, because part of the issue is whatever we do, Tony's office is gonna have to answer for an audit at some point.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, anything else, Mark?
No, that's it.
Okay, anything for the general public?
I have
You got
one other thing
Oh, okay.
that I wanted to add under Mark here, that something else David spoke about with us here, that is all over the state right now, and maybe Mark has further information on this. And it involves the opioid settlement.
Right.
There's been a lot of stuff. It's been in the Gazette, it's been in the other, it's been everywhere, where the Attorney General had an editorial in about counties opting in, and Fort Wayne and Allen County are opting out, and all of this stuff, and I don't really understand it, but were you in there when David was discussing that? Can you shed any further light on what he was saying that might be wise to do, because we haven't hired an attorney on our own to go after any of that stuff. But I don't know, maybe Mark does, I don't know what our county, do we need to
We're
do
in-
something?
We're in, but there's gonna be paperwork we're gonna have to fill in when we get it, because we never opted out of it. So we're automatically
Oh, yeah,
in
automatically
the
in.
program,
Okay.
but there's paperwork we're gonna have to file.
Okay, and I
The ones
just, I don't
that they-
know where that
I
comes from.
think
or-
something about, I heard a 15% rule or something,
Mhm.
and the counties that opted out of the program to go after on their own, they think they're gonna get up
They
to
think they'll get
50%,
more.
a lot more money, is what they're
Which
hoping. But
Todd
it's all-
Rokita had that editorial in
Yeah.
saying that you should opt in. Of course,
Yeah, but we don't want to spend the attorney fees to go out on our own
No.
and try to wing it.
I'm just not clear on what forms have to be filled out, where those forms come from, who fills those out. I'm just not clear on all of that. And I don't know how much time we have for that either. Mark, are you aware of any of that at all?
I've gotten emails on it, and we
I
started
just don't
looking at
know.
that. Now,
It's
let me
probably gonna
have,
come back to the auditor's office to fill stuff in, I would imagine.
Probably.
You know, it would seem likely.
We have to fill out,
we'll research it and figure out what the options are.
okay. I just know that's being discussed a lot, and that Mr. Butter mentioned it and discussed it with Rex and I when he was here, and
I think that Indiana was set to get about $507 million, I believe, but I think that was if all the counties went into the program. If all the counties went into the program, they're gonna get more money. I
Yeah.
think that's why they wanted
Yeah.
all the counties in, but
Yeah.
apparently that's not gonna work out that way.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Other than the fact that my office will be submitting, there's a report due to the Treasury regarding ARPA, and it's by August 31st, but it's what was spent as of July 31st, which we haven't spent any,
Right.
even though it's quite the process to even send that report. It's convoluted, but we will be submitting that here probably this week or next, so that we will remain in compliance and then kind of go from there.
Okay, that's very good.
And Aaron called you, I think, and got those dates and
Yep.
information numbers from you yesterday because we were putting that resolution together.
Yep.
Okay, if there's nothing from the general public, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting, so I'll need a motion, gentlemen.
So move. Second.
Motion's made and seconded, and we are adjourned.